It's time for baseball's last frontier, stories from the Pecos League, the podcast that will open your door to baseball's entry level, telling you the stories of the teams, players, and coaches of an independent minor league circuit. I'm your host, Bruce McClure, and I have the pleasure of introducing to you my friend, partner, co-host, and man on the inside, Evan Katz. Evan, how are you this evening?
Oh, Bruce, since we last spoke, I've driven 2,000 miles. I'm out here in North Platte, Nebraska, on the campus of Mid-Plains Community College. We're in some dorms off of Halligan Drive, where we can hear the traffic whizzing by on Route 80. I'm here with manager of the North Platte 80s, Todd Everleth, and this apartment is central command for the headquarters for the 80s this season. So we're underway. We've had practices, and I can fill you in on our fortress of solitude where we worked out during the first few days of spring training.
I would like to hear a little bit about that. I would also like to hear how technologically advanced Command Center is for a Pecos League team.
Well, we've got a laptop, cell phones, and whatever apps
All right.
Todd and I can handle.
Okay. All right. So you're connected. Life is good. Okay. All right. Well, tell us about the Fortress of Solitude.
Right. So Todd will be joining us shortly.
Yes.
It was possible we could have worked out at Bill Wood Field, but we do share that field with a couple of American Legion teams, and he just wanted to have a practice where we could have the field for as long as he wanted. He found a field out in Hershey, Pennsylvania. Boy, Hershey.
That's a hike.
Hershey, Nebraska. Population 663, settled in 1892,
Wow.
known mostly for beets, alfalfa, and sugar beets. But they have a ballpark, Centennial Field. It's quiet, no distractions. We get the field as long as we wanted. We had 3 days of workouts there. The first day, we did some speed measurement, velo measurements, evaluated the players with some drills. We ended up that day with pizza delivered by the North Platte Visitors Center to help support the players. The next day, and the following day, we had inter-squad games. We had subs again one day supplied by the community. We're getting great support here. And last Friday night, we had a meet and greet at the Peg Leg Brewery, where players got to meet members of the community, and it was standing room only. We're getting a great feel from the community here. Unfortunately, it rained the next day, and we were indoors. And I may have mentioned last week that we have access to an indoor facility, the DN Center. Again, that's being donated by the community. So if it rains, we have a place to work out indoors. So these players are being really supported well. We wrapped up the spring training on Monday, where the team members met their host families again at was it pulled pork brisket, Todd? Was that what that was?
Pulled brisket.
Pulled brisket dinner, again, provided by the community, where we were able to recognize the incredible help that we've gotten from the host families that were starting up with the players, people that had supplied meals, and we're just getting a really good feel from the support of the community. We've gotten off to a great start here.
You've had pizza, you've had subs, you've had all sorts of great stuff, but I haven't heard anything about y'all taking part in any alfalfa or sugar beets out there. Now, why is that?
Not yet. It's a long season. We've got 9 weeks, so I'm sure we're going to get a taste of all the agriculture and the meat, of which this area is very proud.
Many of you who have listened to this podcast over the last season and our introductory episode last week know that I am coming to you from the burgeoning metropolis of New London, New Hampshire, population of about 4,000. Evan's finally found a community, a baseball mad community that's smaller than mine. I'm pretty impressed.
Well, it may beat you in population, but it is probably quieter than New London once you get a few miles out of town.
I'll bet it is.
North Platte is a city of about 20,000, and it's a pretty busy place. But you go a few miles out of town, and it is dead quiet, just fields, farms, and a lot of livestock and agriculture.
Yeah, that sounds an awful lot quieter than what I'm used to. One of the things that strikes me is that you're talking a lot here about community involvement with the team. Can you speak to the level of community involvement in North Platte versus other teams in the league by any chance?
Well, you know what I'm going to do, Bruce? I think this is a good time to introduce Todd because he has been working since last year. Todd was manager last year when North Platte started as an expansion team. He came out here with less than a month to prepare. And when the season ended, he started working right away on planning the 2025 season. So I want to introduce Todd Everleth, who is an assistant coach at State University of New York at Plattsburgh during the college baseball season. And he is the manager of the North Platte 80s. I met Todd last year, and we hit it off pretty well and decided to try to build this team together. He's invited me out to help coach the team. So, Todd, I'm going to turn it over to you and Bruce, so you can tell him about the great work that you've been doing building community support for the 80s.
I,
Well, thank you, Evan, and how you doing, Bruce?
I'm doing great, Todd. It's good to hear your voice again. You were one
Yeah,
of our most popular guests last year, and I'm glad you're back. I'm very
thank you. I'm
interested
glad
to
to be
hear a
back.
lot about the community involvement. Yeah.
Well, one thing that I was born and raised basically as a baseball player. I mean, I come from a long line of baseball family members. But one of the biggest things that was instilled in me is that baseball is not just a spectator sport, but it's also a community sport. And whenever you can give back to a community through sport, they will then return that favor back to you and come and root for you and help you along your journey in baseball. So, um, community is huge. It's what puts people in the seats, and that's how our players get paid. So, it's critical that our players know we're here for the community. One of the biggest things we had to do is overcome a college level summer program that was here prior to the professional level, and that college level team left a couple black eyes in the community that we had to overcome. And I just wanted to make sure that when I got here, that we could mend fences, put our past behind us, and allow these professional athletes to come in here and have a good experience, not just on the ball field, but within the community and the community members.
Were you there all of the off season building community?
No,
No.
no, that was a straight answer for you.
Yeah.
I live in I live in Plattsburgh, New York.
I was going to
I
say.
have a construction company. I also coach collegiate baseball there as an assistant coach. Um, I'm a pretty busy dude. I've been in pro baseball now for going on 11 years, it seems. Yeah, about 11 years. And but the community building started last year. When I first got here, I met with the Rotary Club. I met with the Chamber of Commerce. I met with some of the local movers and shakers of this community. Let them know our goal and our mission here in this town is to bring professional baseball, not summer college baseball, professional men trying to move on in their career. And they're not here for fun and games. This is a career move on their part right out of college or a couple years out of college. And we have a couple players actually in their around 29, 30, and 31 years old. So these guys are here for a purpose, and that purpose is to play professionally and then go as high as they can. So when I talk to the community, basically we're not here for the big parties and loudness and all that stuff. So it took a bit for them to let their guard down, so to speak, and accept us. And this year it's just been a huge reception from the community that we're back, and they're excited to have us back.
You have used the word professional over and over and over again. And one of the questions that I get when people ask me about this podcast is, Just how serious is the competition in the Pecos League? How serious is this league anyway? So, and I tell folks, you know what? Tune in next week because I got a guy that can answer this question and do a better job than I can. So, Todd, tell me about the level of competition in this league, and for lack of a better term, just how professional the Pecos League is.
Well, I can speak for my team. We're competitive. The rest of the league, they're very competitive. I know when we get to certain towns, we know we're in for a long haul trying to play some of these guys that are just steps and leaps above some of our players because they're just out of college. They take these towns that we go to, they take baseball seriously. They have affiliated players that have been released. They have guys that are trying to get into the Frontier League or the Pioneer League or the Atlantic League or the American Association, which are all the next step above, basically. And some are partnered with MLB because independent
Mhm.
baseball is the next future in
Mhm.
professional baseball since the inception of the Save America's Pastime Act and the minor leaguers requiring and asking for more money, and the MLB allowed them to get more money, but they also got rid of like the New York Penn League and several other minor league programs. So it's up to the independent league. So yes, this is professional. This is about what you're going to see in A ball if it was affiliated when those programs are now gone. So these guys are just trying to do what they can and grind it out and try to get into that affiliated program or the partnered programs.
You made an interesting comment there. You talked about how independent baseball is the future of professional baseball in the United States. And you got me interested in that comment too. Can you speak at all to any sort of expansion or enlargement of the independent leagues in the near or distant future? Do you have any knowledge or ideas on that?
I'm not involved with some of the bigger independent partnered leagues.
No.
I do know they have expanded. There's the Mississippi Mud Monsters. That's a new team in the Frontier League.
Mm-hmm.
There is another team, I'm not quite sure the name of it, that expanded also. That's a new expansion team. So they did add two more. I think they're up to 18 teams now in the league for the Frontier League. So the Atlantic League has always been a strong league. That's like mostly AAA level ball
Mm-hmm.
players. The American Association is about an A level, long A. The Frontier League also is a long A, Pioneer League, the long A. And we're basically, if you put us on a totem pole, we're the lowest level A ball you can get, which is
Mm-hmm.
short season A ball.
Okay.
It's like a rookie league. I take it as a developmental league. Yeah, I want to win a championship. That would be great. But primarily, the biggest feather in my cap is moving players up to the next level, watching their journey go as far as they can in baseball and hopefully in the MLB, in the big time, hopefully a Red Sox guy or something like that. That's my team.
There you go.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to bring Evan back in here and we're going to let you guys talk for a little bit about the team's profile, the type of team you've got there, and what is happening with the roster, if you can speak to it at this point, for 2025.
I'll let Todd give you the profile of the players, but I think just to give you a little bit of background, Todd and I started working on recruiting back last October. And the way I describe it, we we texted back and forth like a couple of teenagers, and we talked on the phone like a couple of old men. That we've been in touch working since October, identifying players, sharing information, interviewing players, looking at data online. But I think one of the things that, and I'll throw it back to Todd in a second, is that we were looking for a certain type of player and we're looking for a certain type of pitcher. And I think Todd can speak to that because he had very specific criteria. We would share information. We got a little more specific as we got closer to the season and had to fill certain holes in the roster. But the process of recruiting, seeing players in person, as Todd traveled with the Plattsburgh State Cardinals, I was going to games around Boston, and then we supplemented that by scouting basically through social media. We would share names, we would try to get contact information on the internet, reach out to players, eventually talk to them on the phone, and then encourage them to sign up, which you do online, pay your fee, and you're in the league. But I'll turn it over to Todd to talk a little bit more about the specifics of what we were looking for and what the team is looking like going forward with opening night tomorrow night.
Well, actually, when we were sitting down, Evan and I were talking about certain players. One of the biggest concentrations that we really looked at was pitching. Pitching is very critical, not just in the Pecos League, but in all levels of baseball, right up to the major league. So when you're recruiting, um, as early as we did, I wanted to really focus on the pitching. I know usually down the road we're going to find first basemen, second basemen, shortstops, infielder, any outfielders. Um, but when we were recruiting the infield, outfield type player, I was looking to find that one player for each position that can also play several other positions. So basically, we're looking at a more athletic ball club to our North Platte 80s, whereas other teams in our league are primarily, well, he's the outfielder in center, he's the outfielder in right. This is our shortstop. There's no deviation. The way I describe our roster and lineup is like a kaleidoscope. Whenever you turn the knob of a kaleidoscope, all the parts and pieces will move into a new segment, and that's the way this team is going to be this year. We have several players that can play multiple positions. I got catchers that can be outfielders. I got catchers who can be first basemen. I got catchers who are third basemen. I have first basemen that can play third base. I got shortstops that can play second. I got second basemen that can play short. I got a shortstop that can pitch. I got an outfielder that can pitch, that can also play first base and catch. So when you look at this roster and you say, oh, he's a shortstop, I say, nah, he's not just a shortstop. He's an athlete and he can pitch 2 innings for me in a bullpen after playing 6 innings out at shortstop, and I got a guy off the bench that can come out and play shortstop. And if I need to move him, I can move that guy out to the outfield, and another guy can come in and take over shortstop. So everything is interchangeable. It is all like a kaleidoscope, and it changes the whole dynamic of our team. And I know no other team thinks like I do.
If that's not developmental thinking, I don't know what is. Because you're taking kids and they're playing several different positions in a season, let alone a game, and getting more experience than somebody possibly, at Garden City or maybe in Santa Fe or wherever, where I'm a first baseman and that's it. And I wonder is if you're giving your players a better shot at moving up through this continuum of independent organized ball than maybe other managers are.
It certainly helps with the players. Versatility always helps. So you can look around what's happening at higher levels. Teams need players that can do more than one thing, and it's particularly important in the Pecos League. I think if listeners who heard last week recall we do not have a DH, so we've got pinch hitting in getting involved with the games. We got potential for double switches as a result of that. Pecos is also a high offense league, and the complexion of the game can change very, very quickly. And so the manager might see the game one way through the fifth or sixth inning and make some defensive changes or shifts in the team, and then it changes again in the eighth or the ninth. And with the kind of roster we've put together, we think we have the ability to do that, and that will give us an advantage.
Folks, you're listening to Baseball's Last Frontier, Stories from the Pecos League. I'm Bruce McClure, and I'm here with Evan Katz and North Platte 80s manager Todd Everleth. Now, I want to talk a little bit more about the team itself. Can you speak toward any players that you've added to the roster this week that you're looking at as being the most versatile or the best power hitter, some of your better pitchers? Is there anybody that you can speak to yet, or are you still putting it together?
Do you have all day?
Say that again.
Do you have all day?
Sure, why not? Let it rip. Let it rip.
I'm
Let's
telling
go.
you, I don't know if we're going to go all the way with this ball club, but what I can tell you is I got a bunch of grinders. Not one is, shining above, not one is mediocre. They're going to be a group of guys that are going to gel together and make one unit. And the way this team is designed is that they are going to bring to the table each and every day because they do play multiple positions. They bring in the most baseball IQ. And that is huge ever since I've been a kid that you have to have baseball IQ as a player. What we have designed, or I've designed with Evan, when I interviewed with Evan to go out and look for players, this is what I'm looking for. I need baseball IQ. I want guys that can play multiple positions, and I need solid pitching. So, with that in mind, I signed one of my assistant coaches at Plattsburgh State Cardinal team. He's a doctor of chiropractic. He played AA ball with Puerto Rico. He's a member of Jackson State Division I team from a while back. He's 30 years old, and I expect big things from him because he's still pumping it to 90 miles an hour. We got a wonderful center fielder from last year returning, Rico Riley. That's a kid that should be up in the next level right now. However, they're asking to get more at bats this year because he tore it up in 15 games last season. So Rico last season batted 364. He had 24 hits in 15 games. He had, I think, 2 home runs, several doubles, and a few triples in just 15 games with 21 stolen bases. So he gets on the base, he's lightning. That's a kid that should be moving up. Kobe Tweeten, our first baseman, 6'7", about 300-pound power hitter, gap shot hitter, and a guy with a lot of speed. He can steal bases. He stole 10 bases last year. And he said, Skip, if I'm here all season, I want 20. And I'm going to give him the green light to do it. Nice. I don't want anybody to get in the way because he's going to freight train him. That's going to be a big standout. I know right now I'm expecting a call from the Mets and the Marlins eventually in the next week about Kobe Tweeten, and if he leaves, we got a guy that can fill right in, right behind him. So that's another bright spot on our roster that I was looking at when we were signing guys for this season. That if I get these players, I think they're going to move up quickly, that we can fill those spots rather quickly as well. We have a couple pitchers that have a lot of good speed, like a Cade Herman and Jason Kramlich. Corey Stewart is back as our closer, and we're just looking at a bunch of good pitching this year as well, where that was one of the things we were lacking as an expansion team last year. With 28 days or so to put a team together last year, I was building it through the month of June as July became a winning month for us. And I wish we had one more month because I think we could have gone a lot further. So with that in mind, that was my fuel for this year. And we went after it. And we got, I think, a really sharp looking squad. And one of the things that I don't think I haven't mentioned yet is in our spring training, I've never seen a group of guys gel together as quickly as they did. So kudos to them. These are a bunch of kids that have never seen each other before, and they're acting like they've been playing together for the last 6 months. So that's what I got this year, and it's a big leap forward from last year, and it's really exciting. I brought a lot of like-minded players together.
Yeah, the way you're talking, that go ahead.
No, I'm just going to speak to that. For example, a couple of the pitchers that we brought in were the captains of their pitching staff back at home. They're leaders. We have another player who's from Salem State, Jake Boucher. He's a captain at Salem State, and he is a two-way player that can play second, short, and pitch. We've got a couple of high-performing catchers that we've brought in. I mean, that have been one that's played in Canada for 2 years at its highest amateur team. So one of the things that we tried to do is when we were talking about players and identifying players, as we spoke to them or looked at their profile online or talking to people that referred them, find out what what their leadership potential, and find out how they evaluate the importance of the team as opposed to themselves. And we tried to take that into consideration. And I think what Todd was saying is we finished up drill at the end of the day the other day, and normally guys just walk off the field at the end. We're out there at Centennial Field. The drill is over. They all met at the mound and gave each other high fives like they just won the game.
That speaks to your ability to find character guys.
They have to be character guys or they don't stay long.
There you go. There you go. My
Unfortunately,
question would be, go ahead.
unfortunately, we're in a business as well. Like I said, my goal, I told you that last year, is to help develop these players,
Mhm.
not only to move up into the major leagues or into the affiliated programs or the partnered programs, but also part of my goal as a coach is that they become successful as men and people of their community and understand the bottom line in all things is that community is first, families first.
Mhm.
Baseball is the last thing that will be on that list, but don't let it be the primary thing on your list because there's a lot more going on than just baseball, and that this is such a short part of your life and a long life ahead of you. So, but let this be one of those lessons in life on how to you can achieve through adversity, to achieve through success and to continue being a good person throughout your lives. So when I bring in players like a Sean Bennett, one of our catchers from last year that we luckily got from Santa Fe after he got released, and he went and hit a grand slam as we played against Santa Fe, and he took it right to his old team. And he, at the end of the season, he's like, "Coach, this is one of the best experiences I ever had. I wish I had more time with you." And I said, "You're going to come back?" He goes, "I really want to come back. Can I come back, coach?" I said, "Absolutely, kid. You're just one of those leaders of our team." He's a 32-year-old catcher. Over the winter, though, I get a horrible call from him. He said, "Coach, I just want to know, I got some bad news to give you. I have a form of cancer, and I
Oh,
don't know if I'm going to be able to play this season." He goes, "But I want to beat it and I want to play the following season." And I told the kid, I said, "You're going to beat it and you're going to be here this season." And here he is in our camp right now. He made the team and he's looking real good.
good.
Unfortunately, this will be his last season in baseball. So um, he's going to be a big leader for us this year.
It's really a poignant story. And I think, Todd, we talked about some of the newer players that were here, but I think you also made a commitment to bring back players last year from last year's team that you got to know and felt could make contributions, but they also have a veteran quality to them. You're bringing a lot of players who are brand new to the league. Can you talk a little bit about the importance of bringing back players who are familiar with the ballpark and the Pecos League, and why it's important to have a reliable group of talented veterans along with newcomers?
Well, the veterans, we got some guys that are veterans that probably um, could have been cut this season. They didn't have a good outing or what have you. And some of the younger guys that did get cut from the team, there's only a few, um, probably are saying, "Well, that guy didn't have a great outing," but some injury for a couple of those guys that happened. And but my commitment to those veterans are true and blue, and when I make a promise, I keep it. And we have a really good amount of veterans. We have a Ryan Lutinsky. He's one of those guys. He first signed with me when I first started in this league last year, and he's a kid out of Connecticut, and he's worked his buns off all winter long, and he may not be a starting type player, but he's one of those great role players on a team, and he's the type of guy that can bring your younger players to a higher level because of now he has that experience in the Pecos League. Garrett Flogan, we call him Scooby Doo. He's a floppy haired kid. He's just a lot of fun on the bench. And when we say Scooby-Doo, I mean he is a Scooby-Doo. He's just like the cartoon. And he's just one of those guys that is always uplifting on the bench. He knows his role. He could start today, he could sit the bench tomorrow, and he's the same kid. He doesn't change how he is. And that brings a whole other element to the dugout. We have Kobe Tweeten. He's a team leader, and when you got a 6'7" big dude on the mount or on the field, when he talks, people listen. I call him E.F. Hutton. If you ever remember that commercial, when he
Yep.
talks, you're listening, and if he doesn't like you, he's going to tell you. He's like, you got to step it up, And he's that kind of leader. He's going to bring those guys that are feeling down about themselves, especially these rookies, because this is the first experience of pro ball. He's going to turn around and tell them, hey, buck it up. Let's go. You got it. Come on, kid. So he'll tell it like it is. Trevor Nelson's returning. He's a very like-minded player as I am a coach. I don't have to say a word to him. I just look at him and he goes, you want to do that right now, coach? I'm like, do it. He knows exactly what I want in that situation. He's a great situational person. He's a pitcher. He's a two-way player. He can play multiple positions from catcher to third, and he's a starting pitcher. So I don't have, he's actually coaching first base. He's my player rep.
Huh.
He vets out all the questions from the players before coming to me, rather than me getting all the players asking me questions. He'll take care of it because he is like-minded. He knows my answer before I probably know my own answer. So he's back, and he brings a lot to the table when it comes to being a team player and a guy that can really help out a team in every aspect of the game, right to the baseball IQ, which I highly demand from all my players. So that's some of those guys that are coming back. Corey Stewart, I can't say enough about him. He's the guy that just wants the ball every day. And he's a closer. He's a ninth inning guy. And if I don't give him a ball in the ninth inning, I'm usually getting my ears chewed out. So I've known Corey for several years when we were in the Empire Professional Baseball League together back in upstate New York. I was trying to find him. I didn't know where I could find him. And lo and behold, one day I find him during the season, last season. And I said to the kid, "Are you retired or are you still playing?" He goes, "Actually, coach, I'm just coming out of it. My brother's with the Phillies. My brother keeps telling me I got to come back." And so he came back to us. He met us in Garden City last season, flew in. We picked him up, took him out to lunch, and he threw gas that night in the ninth inning to help us out. So he's back. So we got some really nice veteran returners that do so much for the younger guys, because these guys will teach these younger guys what it's like to be on the road for 9, 10 days at a time, how to handle yourself in a community that when you're home or when you're on the road. So they're there to be teachers and proteges all in the same token. So,
Well, let's talk about where you're headed this week, because game action starts tomorrow, Wednesday, the 28th, with the first of two games with the Garden City Wind. And they're going to follow you right back to North Platte on Friday and Saturday for the first two home games of the season for you guys. And that should be an exciting way to get the season started. You'll be off Sunday as well, coming back Monday against Santa Fe, right?
That's correct.
Now,
Yeah, it's going to be
go.
fireworks for the first four games. And I mean, not in the sky. I mean, it's going to be on the field. Last year, they were looking to get a record in the Pecos League for, I think, the most wins in one season. And they played us in the last series of the regular season. And we took it to them with a walk-off at the bottom of the ninth inning with Derek Wood hitting a flare shot to short right field. I had Rico Riley on second, and as soon as he took off for third, I just waved him home. It was a bang-bang play at home, and we win the game. So Garden City did not get the record. So I know for a fact tomorrow's going to be fireworks. I know they are going to want to take us down, and they're going to take us down hard, but they're not. We're going to come down there to prove to them that last night or last year's last game was not a fluke, that we're building off of that, and we're going to go after them. In fact, I was talking to Easton Barnes, the head coach of the Garden City team just a few hours ago when I was on the field, and we're both excited to face each other again. He's a very like-minded coach like me. We understand each other, and we're out for promoting our players forward. And actually, he sent us a kid that he just couldn't keep on his roster, a young pitcher named Jason Kramlich. So that's the kind of guy Easton is. Yeah, he's going to come try to beat us, and we're going to go down and try to beat him. And at the end of the day, we'll still have a handshake, a hug, and we'll say, see you in the next round. So it's going to be an exciting 4-game series, 2 away, 2 here. So we're looking forward to it.
That's exactly the way it should be. You have a interesting home game on Tuesday against Santa Fe. That would be the 3rd of June. Evan, can you talk about that for a minute? You and I discussed that during prep over the past couple of days. So
Yes.
give the fans a bit.
So due to a schedule conflict with the American Legion, we weren't able to plan to have our game here in North Platte on Tuesday. There's a baseball field down in McCook, about 70 miles south of here. And McCook was the franchise for the Atlanta Braves in 1959 in the Nebraska State League, a short season rookie league. This will be the first professional baseball game in McCook in 66 years. And to learn more about what it was like in McCook 66 years ago, our guest will be Pat Jordan, who played in the last professional game in McCook in 1959 with the McCook Braves, who, by the way, won the Nebraska State League championship that year. He chronicled that season and his career in the award-winning baseball memoir, A False Spring. So we'll be having Pat Jordan with us to take us back in time to McCook, Nebraska, 1959, where he said, when I spoke to him one time, that the Cowboys and the ball players got into fights over the local girls.
I love that line. I love that line. Pat is going to be a guest with us next week. So be sure to download that one when it comes out, because you're not going to want to miss Pat Jordan and his stories of the old days in McCook. It's going to be great. All right. For more information on the Pecos League, check out their website at pecosleague.com. And you can catch all the action in 2025 at pecosleague.tv too. And finally, if you're a hardcore baseball fan, you need to join the Society for American Baseball Research, the premier baseball community. Offering an amazing baseball buffet of options to explore your fandom, SABR boasts more than 35 different research committees, over 80 regional chapters, and innumerable opportunities to connect with baseball minds across the world. For more information, go to sabr.org today. Gentlemen, this has been a fabulous discussion. Thank you for doing this with us.
Thank you, Bruce.
Thank you, Bruce.
We appreciate you both. We're going to get everybody out of here and see everybody next week. For Evan Katz and Todd Everleth, I'm Bruce McClure. Thanks for listening. Have a good night, everybody.